Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Broku no Hero video. This is a chapter review and analysis of Black Clover chapter 232. And of course, this video will feature manga spoilers because it's a review of the Black Clover manga. And so with that being said, we're just going to get into this review. I'm going to leave a link down below to where you can read it officially when it comes out in a couple of days. But if you guys do enjoy, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it. Alright, so we first start off with basically all of the Clover Kingdom fighters who had just been training for 6 months, regrouping with Gaia and the Heart Queen, Laura Pachica. She says, "Good work, everyone." Then we get this nice shot that is reminiscent of the captains standing next to each other. But this is Mimosa, Noelle, Finral, Asta, Leopold, and Luck. And man, look how much Leopold has come along. Look how much taller he is. Now, we did get a statement from the last chapter saying he was tall, but we didn't really get a good perspective shot. But if you guys remember, back when Asta and Leopold fought together, they were pretty much equal height, if not Leopold being a bit taller. Now, Leopold's a whole head taller than Asta. If Asta is about 5'1", I believe is his height, I'd say that at least Leopold is 5'9". At least. He's probably a bit even taller, but yeah, Leopold is definitely starting to look more like his big brother Fagolion. Can't wait to see his progression. He's already probably going to be at least somewhat comparable to what they were in the Elf arc. I'm sure Fagolion's been training for the 6 months with the Spirit, and Marielena's probably training and fighting because that's what she does, but still, if you probably compare him to what like Fagolion was and Marielena was in the Elf arc, 6 months of training with 5 Tier 0 Spirit Guardians, he now can use symbols. I'm sure that Leopold is probably at least comparable to them. He was already showing to be pretty strong when he was fighting Elf Randall and holding his own for a little bit once he broke his limb. So basically, Laura Pachica shows us the map again, and it looks like just these few Clover Kingdom people were able to take back the territory of that the Spade had conquered, and they actually pushed through and captured a village called Toron. It's a village within the Spade Kingdom, and they're using Noelle's water magic. It's aiding the Undyne clone, and they're setting up a barrier around it that is similar to one that the Heart Kingdom has. Now, this kind of brings me an issue with what the last few chapters has been. So, we've had the Spade Kingdom basically teased for a long time, especially when the guidebook came out over a year ago, stating that the Spade Kingdom was the military power of the continent, meaning that it was more powerful than the Clover Kingdom. And they're getting fodderized. Guys, Asta goes through in his base form and solos an entire base except for the captain. And then once the captain is beating base Asta, Asta goes into his black form, not his full, most powerful black form, a lesser version, and pulls out Black Divider and one-shots him. And then Luck and Leopold go and they solo an entire Spade Kingdom base. And since the base was the same thing as the one that Asta fought, you would have to assume that basically as well, there was a captain that was in charge of that base. So either Luck took on the captain or Leopold, or they both did, but basically they defeated a captain and they soloed the base by themselves, guys. That's one thing that I do not like about the Spade, or the last few chapters, is the Spade has really been reduced to fodder. Now, I understand it's explained. These guys have been training with 5 Tier 0 Spirit Guardians for 6 months, and also probably training amongst each other. Like, you have all these characters training with the Spirit Guardians, but they probably trained with each other as well, and they were all very strong, but it just doesn't seem right for just Luck and Leopold by themselves to solo a base, or base Asta to solo a Spade Kingdom base. That's just one of my complaints so far. Now, if the Spade Kingdom just gets way stronger and it turns out these are just the fodder forces, I know that there's the Dark Triad, but I don't want it to be just the Dark Triad as the 3 strongest people, and that's it. I hope there's actually like a stronger version of Spade soldiers or a Spade army than rather than what we have now. We also learned that the Demon's Curse that Laura Pachica has, it can react to the Demon's power very quickly, so they're trying to corner Magicula into the Spade Kingdom so they can find it and kill him or her. Now, Luck is really excited with this, and he wants to fight Gaia. Now, this also leads to Leopold saying he wants to fight and train with Gaia, he mentioned his own spirit guardian that he trained with, which his name is Fraga, or he or her, it doesn't really say. But he says that Fraga was really strong, and he wants to fight Gaia. Asta wants to fight Gaia, but then Gaia's like, nah, you guys need to take a rest, all you've been doing is fighting. Which they keep saying, no, let's fight. And then Clover Manga wants to fight, so it's pretty funny. One of the seemingly assistants of the Heart Kingdom runs in and saying there's an emergency in the pollen flume forest, and that Charmy's been hiding in it. And Asta's like, you know what, fine, I'm gonna go through. And he pulls out his Demon Slayer, jump us on top of it while it's floating, and he says, by controlling the anti-magic, I can fly. So Asta, you know, this was kind of shown in the last few chapters that he was surfing on his board, or on his Demon Slayer sword, but it wasn't really shown in a good panel. Now it's just blatantly out there. Yes, Asta can fly on the Demon Slayer sword, kind of like a surfboard that's like going through the air. So it's really cool to see Asta go from not being able to use a magic broom at all to being able to fly with his Demon Slayer sword. This is mentioned by Finral. Then of course we get the fan service that everybody loved. It was Noelle, Mimosa, and Clover Manga all bathing together. And also the pretty funny fan service scene where Clover Manga wants to go grab Mimosa's breasts. I'm not really going to comment much on this further. It's fan service, plain and simple. But Clover Manga is actually really glad she became friends with everyone. She probably seemed to be a bit more of a hermit in her own kingdom, and now she gets to hang out with other females that are royalty. It's probably good for her to have friends to kind of blossom and flower up. Asta heads towards the Heart Kingdom pollen flume forest, and he sees Charmy there, who's been eating everything in the forest, and now she's really fat. And then we get pretty much the big reveal of the chapter. Yuno is named to be a vice captain by somebody, a member of the Golden Dawn, who's questioning him, but basically says, Mr. Vice Captain, and then Yuno interrupts him saying, I'm going on a mission, what is it now? And he says, well, it's a request from the Church of Hajj, a village in the Forsaken Realm. And then Yuno turns around and says, out with it. So, Yuno is wondering what the hell is going on, and now, this kind of confirms that Yuno wasn't training with the Spirit Guardians, which it almost seemed like he might have been when they showed the people who were going to train. But honestly, it's kind of irrelevant because Yuno should be training as well and going through missions as well, so he will be stronger. Also, just Belle looks more developed in this chapter. That could just be my memory tricking me, but she looks more developed, in my opinion, just based on what I've seen last, but I could be wrong. But either way, Yuno's going to be stronger. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that Yuno didn't go train with them. The only, I guess, way to explain it is that now that he's a vice captain, he doesn't really have the time to go train for 6 months out of the kingdom when he has a lot of duties as a vice captain of a squad. And this caused a lot of, not really uproar among the fandom, but people are like, oh, what? Yuno is now a vice captain, that means Longress isn't one anymore? But that's not necessarily true at all. If you guys remember in the canon flashback episodes of Yami and William, both were vice captains at the same time under the Grey Deer, which means that there still could be 2 captains of the Golden Dawn. Now, if William is still the captain, it would make perfectly fine sense to have 2 vice captains, because he himself was a vice captain with another vice captain. So he might follow what happened in his own life, what his master, his captain, Julius at the time, had done. He might see that there might be value in having 2 vice captains. So no, just because Yuno is a vice captain does not mean that Longress is not the vice captain anymore. They could still be both vice captain at the same time. Also, it might just be that William maybe isn't the captain. He has to do other things to kind of redeem himself. Longress got leveled up to captain, and Yuno is vice captain. Now, that one doesn't make too much sense to me. Longress was, despite him being kind of corrupted by the forbidden magic, and it was kind of against his own will, still, he did fucked up shit. And so, what I think is, Longress is a vice captain, Yuno's a vice captain, and William's probably still the captain. Now, if Longress just got axed as a vice captain, man, what a life. You get shown up by your brother, you cause a bunch of shit when somebody takes over your body as an elf, then you lose your fiance, Finesse, to your own brother, and then you lose your vice captain ranking to some commoner or peasant who's younger than you. Man, Longus is really getting cucked out here if that's really happening, but I don't think that's what's happening here. I think that Longus is probably still a vice captain, since we know that there can be 2 vice captains at once. Now, kind of more into the analysis of this chapter, we're probably going to get the mystery of Yuno being answered pretty soon here, or beginning to answer. This is what I hope, because you don't remember a few chapters ago, it ended with some dude in a robe, like a hooded robe, collapsing in front of the church of Hodge, and Sister Lily saw him, and this guy was like, Master Yuno. So, it kind of implies that this guy was maybe a servant to Yuno, and Yuno is of royalty, or maybe nobility. It would make sense and add stuff to his character, because honestly, he was born with a high amount of mana, but I already liked the current explanation enough to not add in the noble or royal bloodlines. I think that an already good enough explanation is that because of the forbidden reincarnation magic, which basically altered reality to create human bodies that looked similar to the elves that died and need to be reincarnated, had similar magic types, similar names, and similar personalities. So, honestly, I thought that was a good enough explanation for why, a commoner or a peasant would be born with high amounts of mana, because his body was created by the forbidden world magic as reincarnation, so that Licht and Tetia's son could fill that body of Yuno. But if it adds more that he's a noble or royal, I guess that could be, interesting too. But I just kind of like that you could have a commoner or a peasant still somewhat be born with high amounts of magic. So the kind of working fan theory as of now is that Yuno is a royal of the Spade Kingdom. He does look somewhat similar to the Dark Triad and those characters. It's like he looks similar to each of the 3, and I know a lot of the 3 also say that the Dark Triad looks like Damnatio, but is he going to be a royal of the Spade Kingdom? That's what it's really seeming like, because a servant-looking guy shows up at the Church of Hodge and is looking for Master Yuno. So this is kind of brought about the theory of Yuno would be the missing 4th of the Dark Triad, and basically there's Xenon, Dante, and Vanica, and those 3 are all just pure evil, and basically they all resemble those 3 traits of, I think it was Machiavellianism, psychotic, and I can't remember the 3rd right now, but kind of isn't. He's just a really calm, cool, and collected guy. He's very different from those 3 traits of the Dark Triad. So, if he is brother or sister of those, he's already setting himself way apart from them, from having a completely different, cool, calm, and collected personality, which would be a cool dynamic to have if he has to face them. And so people are kind of saying that he was supposed to be a part of this Dark Triad and be, I guess, a dark quartet or whatever, but what happens is he's abandoned at the church because whoever was in power, maybe his mother, his father, maybe his own servant did it as defiance, a rebellious act against the Spade Kingdom, but he snuck over to the Clover Kingdom when Yuno was a baby and abandoned him at the church. That would make sense. Maybe he saw too much evil and darkness within the Dark Triad and wanted Yuno to be raised in a good founding so that he would be raised to be good, and that would be working now. Now he's the vice captain of the Golden Dawn, he's extremely powerful, and he's a good guy, and he's gone to this powerful without really doing any dark deeds. Now, that seems like a really cool thing to potentially happen, although, like I said, I don't know what I think about the royal thing. Maybe he could be a half-royal or a bastard son of a royal, and that's why he was abandoned, but going to be really exciting stuff. That mystery should be answered in the next few chapters, or beginning to be answered, and I'm really looking forward to that. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on the chapter below. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...